Welcome, everyone. Hello, my name is Brad McDougall, and I am the host for this and the upcoming professional development series offered by OnCue Performance Hub. So a warm welcome to everyone who is attending today. I'm going to read off my auto prompt here, which are 2 pages typed to the sides of my computer. Thanks to a federal grant from the Canadian Performing Arts Works Recovery Fund, administered by Canadian Heritage, OnCue's incubator program in 2022-23 will include professional development opportunities intended to serve a range of performing artists working in different disciplines at different stages in their careers, and both within the city of Regina and provincially. This is the first in a series of online professional development workshops. OnCue Performance Hub is a new nonprofit performing arts organization with a new organizational model and approach, offering a cooperative producing model, serving local artists and diverse audiences in Regina and beyond. We bring together artists from underserved communities. Our goal is for a better retention of creatives within our community through a supportive environment that facilitates innovation and the realization of creative ideas, while providing practical professional development of the business and administrative skills creative entrepreneurs need to survive and thrive as independent artists. We're grateful to be working on Treaty 4 land, the territory of the Nehiyawak, Anishinaabeg, Dakota, Lakota, and Nakota, and the homeland of the Métis Michif Nation. We also acknowledge the people of Treaties 2, 6, 8, and 10. We recognize the past and ongoing harms experienced by these people and embrace a mandate to work with them in fostering greater understanding and a better way forward. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank our ASL interpreter today, Sue Schmidt. Landon Waleser, our OnCue creative administrator, is our tech wrangler for today. And I'd like to send a big thank you to Philip Adams, program consultant for Saskatchewan Arts Board, who has agreed to provide a presentation about applying for the Independent Artist Grant Program and to answer your questions. So just a few house guidelines. Please indicate that you have a question by simply typing a Q in the chat. That way we'll have an ordered list. We will work through as many as we can in the 10 minutes allotted. Hopefully there will be time at the end to get all your questions in. And just to note, Philip has 2 exercises for us to work through in small groups. So we will be put into breakout rooms, and I think Landon has put the 2 resources in the chat in case people have joined late and didn't get them. So now I'll turn it over to Philip to introduce himself, and I will also put his bio in the chat. Philip?
Great. Thanks a lot, Brad. Thanks, Landon. Thank you, Sue. And welcome to another deliciously hot Saskatchewan Saturday afternoon. Thanks for coming into this room. I'm talking to you from the land currently that has been attached to from the Crown to the First Nation under Treaty 6. There were many Métis here. It is considered part of their homeland. And other First Nations as well are part of this land that I've been humbled to work upon. And it is about the land and how we take care of it, and what we do with the people who are caretakers of this land. I'm an uninvited guest here. No one asked me to come here. I just showed up at the invitation of some people, but not the original people. So I'm continue to acknowledge that And I'm grateful for the welcome that I've received, for the teachings that I have, that people have helped me understand what this land is, and the water and the air as well. So I'm grateful for that. And hi. As a way to talk about this day, like Brad said, I have a PowerPoint, and PowerPoints are really boring, or they can be. So I'm gonna try to do my best to entertain you. But please, if the entertainment is too much, you could say, just like Louise, she always keeps me honest. I could just say, no, like, okay, get on with it, move on, move on. But it's we'll just talk about what the independent artist grant is like, how to apply for it, what are some of the principles and the tenets of what we look for, how we define professional artists, what is and what isn't acceptable. And like Brad said, put your questions into the chat, and then maybe 3-4 times we'll take a pause for my yak, and you can I can respond to questions. There will be some breakout rooms, so Landon will ascribe you to a certain breakout depending on the numbers we have, and there's some little exercises there, some 2 exercises, and there are 3 scenarios in each exercise, and I'll ask you to go in and talk about them, discuss them, and then actually score them so that you're becoming little review panels. And I find that that's very helpful to understanding the nature of what the review of your applications, what it's like, how does that work? And then there's another one. The final one is just sort of a cheat sheet that my colleague Alex Rogalski put together for guidelines for preparing for making a strong application. I welcome questions, I welcome discussion, because that is often how I can respond to your specific needs, and be not shy about talking about your specific needs. I have a problem with this. How do I talk about that? Is it theater or is it multidisciplinary? And those are like gnarly little bits of groupings that are arbitrary, but it's also a way to talk through how we do this. Then we'll wrap that up. So my question now is, do you have any questions? And if so, I mean, if not, then we will proceed. I don't see anything showing up, and no cues. Let me try to share my screen here. There it is. That look, Sue, I see you. So can you give me that's showing up? Good, cool. Yes, that's who we are. The Saskatchewan arts thrive for the benefit of everyone at home and around the world. This is our current vision. We are in the long process of trying to see if that's still current. We'll be going out to the community and asking for your input and your help along the way to do that. This is a photograph by this artist, and why I've included it here is it's the start of it's a dog team. It's on the snow, where dog teams like to be, but it's also a woman in a red dress with bare shoulders and a huge long red scarf that's taking off. And I find it rather courageous of this artist to do this, because the contrast makes it stand out. It makes it something really different than the ordinary. And that's often what review panels will look for. And Henri Matisse said this: I don't paint things, I only paint the difference between things. So it's those dark spaces in between. I was talking the other day, I was fortunate enough to see a Rembrandt, an original, and it was the man in the golden helmet. So the gold helmet, some of you may know this, big golden helmet, and the rest was all black. When I looked at it online or in books, it was black. But when I saw it in real life, it was anything but black. It was browns and umbers and shades and colors and depth. So it's that, seeing the details, the underpaintings and all the rest of that, that is often really intriguing to a review panel. I will admit and confess that sometimes I will use the word jury because I'm trying to change. And that's, as we know, that can be a little difficult, but I'm trying, because we're moving away from that language. It can be seen as not appropriate for obvious reasons. So going back to the red scarf, first ask yourself, what do you have a passion for? And yes, my little nerdy geeky thing, I thought to put the word passion in red because I want to make it stand out. But that's really one of the most important parts of writing a successful grant application. Because if you don't have a passion for it, if you're just doing it pro forma, it's a perfunctory exercise, that will not read well with most review panels. Get excited, let me half track back. I know you are excited, and decide on the thing that you have the most passion for. What do I want to do? Ask yourself this question: create a new work, learn new techniques, explore or research, or present an existing work. These are the three sort of main tenets of the Independent Artist Program. You can go away into a room with a bunch of people. If you're a musician, you can rent a room in Waskasiu and write songs. If you're a theater person, you can sit down and go to that same cabin in Waskasiu and write a play or write a scene or something like that. We can support that. Learn new techniques. You can go study somewhere, professional development, or just straight research. Or you can put on a production. You want to do a production of, I don't know, Hamlet. I don't know. That's a novel exercise. But you can get money to do that. Actors' fees, venue rental, costumes, lights, advertising, that kind of stuff. Creatives, designs. So those are the three big broad strokes of that. You want to ask yourself, why this project at this time? That's really critical to answering the passion thing. Because if you've got a passion for it, that burning passion, then you will want to talk about this. I need to do this project right now because, and then answer that question. And that often resounds well within the review panel's brains. How will this project contribute to my artistic development and body of work? Why? Why do I need to do this right now? How will this help me become a better theater artist? If you're a designer, how will it make me, how will this move? How can if I create this thing right now because I really, really need to, how will it help my career? How will it move my art practice forward? I designed one-person shows for 3 years in shortcuts. And now I want to design a fuller play. I want to do Chekhov because there's great costumes and there's a crazy set, but the crazy director, he wants to put it in 2027. So what's 2027 look like? So that's the kind of thing. How that will move, describe how that will move your art practice and your body of work. And then how will this grant help me to do that? Break it down into its budget. I need this amount of money for costumes, and this amount of money for materials, and venue. I want to do it at the backstage, but I can't because it's already booked. So I'm going to do it in the refinery. Oh, they're booked. I'm going to go off to La Troupe. Sorry, these are Saskatoon references. But this grant will help me do that because I've never done a show at La Troupe. So it's going to help me do that and give myself some exposure over there. This is half a step backwards, but it's sort of an overview of what the Arts Board, Sask Arts, can do. There's professional arts organizations like the big theaters and the small theaters, Sask festivals, Indigenous peoples art and artists in schools, artists in communities, the Prince Edward Art Scholarship for students. If you're full-time student, you can get $2,500. Half-time student in a bona fide educational institution. And then there is the independent artists as well. We manage this national program. There's a fly on my computer and it's dangerously close to the camera. So if I do get a kind of fuzzy in wings, that's why. Shoot. Now the access copyright, which is for writers and stuff, but we just manage that program. Ludwig von Beethoven. There should be a single art exchange in the world to which the artist would simply send her works and be given in return as much as they need. As it is, one has to be half a merchant on top of everything else, and how badly one goes about it. You sell your stuff. You have to be an artist, yes, but you also have to be a bit of a business person. Yes, back in the day, big rich people, well, they could have been little rich people, but their cash of money was very big. So they would just support people, as you know, right? And that's what Beethoven was talking about. But in some ways, this is what the arts, Sask Arts is. We are here to help you do that. And we're here to help you figure out how to sell yourself. Because you can contact a consultant and say, okay, I've got a draft in Smart Simple, and I'm confused. I got going down a few rabbit holes, and I need some help sorting that out. That's a service. That's a thing. That's what our job is. It's the word consultant is part of what I am at the Arts Board. Then you can just call up and I can take a read of it. If it's not like 2 days before deadline, which most people are pretty good about. And then of course, Elvis, he didn't write these lyrics, but he did sing them. And you've got a new tale to tell. Just take a walk down Lonely Street to Heartbreak Hotel, because it's hard. It's hard. It's hard. And you will not be successful, and you will be successful. And the unsuccessful ones are always gutting. They just go up inside you and go, oh God. I spent all that time preparing, writing, getting all these collaborators in to get their art CDs and all the rest of that, and it didn't cut through. And that's hard. That's hard. There's no other way around it, except you can call me up and I will help you figure out why it was not successful in this round. I also do music, independent artist music, and there was a musician. He did not succeed. He could not figure out how to write down what his vision was, what his project was. It was all mixed up. And then we talked, and then he gave up, and he would call me from far away where he was and say, I'm giving up. I'm never going to do that again. I would say, yeah, okay, you can. However, you may want to think about this. Yeah, okay, I'll give it a try. So it was 4 times. It's not about me, it's about the artist. 4 times later, he finally nailed it, top ranked, full award, because he just stuck with it. He too was a temporary resident of Heartbreak Hotel. These are some things. I'm reading these so that Sue can not read them and just listen to me talking. So, and I'm looking at you over here. So now what? Take all the time you need. There's only two deadlines every year, so there's lots of time in the interim to figure this out. Of course, theater people, we love deadlines. If it weren't for deadlines, we'd still be not practicing. Provide yourself with important tools. It takes some time, whatever it is, if you're writing on it with a pen on paper or a computer or all the rest of that. Just set yourself up. Learn. Go and learn some new skills. That would be okay. Present your work. Put it out. We're theater people. We just, without an audience, as you know, you guys know this, without an audience, we're like nothing. Like really, it's just like wank wank. And that's less interesting for the general public, and we need an audience to do that. Gain recognition, sure, we live by applause. We want the applause. We want people to like our work, and then prosper from the work you've done. Sell tickets, have a run, extend the run, find a way to present yourself in a ways that will garner an interest. And one of the ways, a bunch of ways you can do this. It's sort of like another way of saying it, the column on the right there. Think outside the box regarding how you usually work. If you usually do one-person shows, which is just fine, but you're less and less people are interested in working with you, coming out to see your work or something like that, then think outside the box. Bring in a punk band from Moose Jaw and like let them inspire your work. Play live along the side of you. Say, I can't think that far. Well, in order to catch the interest of the review panel, think about that. Think about working outside where you usually would. Challenge yourself, make yourself vulnerable. As actors, every time we step on the stage, we're vulnerable. That's part of why we do it. Even the biggest actors don't know whether or not they're going to be able to take that step onto the stage. I heard recently another definition of break a leg, and it was back in the day when legs, like in the stage in vaudeville, you would not get paid. If you stepped out in front of the leg in the wings and you were actually on stage, that's when you got paid. But if you didn't, then you didn't get paid. So break a leg. So I don't know why I thought to tell you that story right now, but
Philip, we have a question here.
Excellent.
Carla, would you like to ask your question?
Sure. Let me look at the chat to remember what it was. Oh, yeah. So on my last application for a reading to figure out like what state and to try and get a dramaturg to work on editing this huge thing, I got about a quarter of what I'd asked for. So I couldn't have the full reading, all that kind of thing. And I'm not certain what I can apply with again, or what, like, I'm not, how do we know? I need the exact same thing. So can I reapply with certain things that I wasn't able to fulfill on that quarter of the budget, or how does this work?
Yes, absolutely. If you got a half, or we'll say a quarter of what you asked for, so
Mhm.
you're only expected to work a quarter of the project. And if we're trying to find a dramaturge for your piece was a huge part of that, then you can apply for a dramaturge again, and you can apply for the total amount. The only little hiccup to that is if you can only get $36,000 every 4 years. In a 4-year period, you can only get $36,000. Maybe it's
And does that amount stay separate according to which area you're applying in? Like, I'm both a writer and like a poetry writer, literary, and a whatever play. So do those overlap?
They do. You can only get 36,000 from the independent artist program, regardless of the discipline, every 4 years. Unlike Canada Council, well, they used to. I'm not sure whether they do. If you wanted to create a piece and you couldn't apply to Canada Council again for the same piece or the same project, we allow that to happen. Because if you didn't get enough money, even if you got the full amount, Carla, nice to see you again. Even if you did get the full amount, you could still apply to do the next phase of that project. So that you completed that, you've done final report, approved. Now I want to move on to the next project of actually putting this play into a workshop. I need to hire actors. I need to bring in that same dramaturge on the same script, and then third go round, complete that third go round. Now I want to present it. Now I want to put it on its feet and stuff like that.
Okay. Thank you.
We have another question, Philip. Ibukin, do you want to pose your question?
Okay, so I just want to ask, I'm new in Canada, just barely 6 months, so am I eligible for this funding?
Good question. You need to be a resident of Saskatchewan for 6 months. That's part of the government's requirements. So yeah, you'd have to be get a health card and taxes and all the rest of that, but you have to actually live in the province for 6 months. Even you could have been moving from Ontario to here, and you'd still have to be here for a year, a full year, not 6 months, for a full year. You have to have lived in the province for a year. Even if you were born and raised here and you moved away to Vancouver for 6 years and you're coming back, you still have to live in the province for a year.
Okay, thank you.
Doesn't help you right now, but if you've been here 6 months, I'll look forward to talking to you in March 1st of 23.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, Philip, that's it for right now.
Cool. Dream about what is possible, be passionate about what it is again, work uninterrupted on your art. Like, you get to, part of it is subsistence. We'll get down to this a little bit later, but you could apply for up to $2,000 a month. No questions asked. I don't need to know what your rent is, what your childcare payments is, how much fuel you put into your vehicle. Just, I need to stay alive for 3 months at $2,000 a month. So I'm going to apply for subsistence for $6,000. You can't do that and pay yourself or put into your budget artist fees for yourself. but you're going to put in artist fees for other people. Speaking of other people, provide an opportunity to collaborate with other artists. Like Carla talked about, finding a dramaturge. I need dramaturge on this project. So can I apply for money to pay that person? Absolutely. And anybody else that you workshop, actors, that kind of stuff. The Arts Board likes to pay artists. We like to pay people to rent you space, but we also like to pay artists. You want to complete the project, you want to present it to the public, and then take what you learn forward to your next project. We want you to learn from this. This is how am I going to move my art practice forward, and then take it. I did Jacques Brel with 3 people, and now I want to do a full. I want to do a full production of a Beckett play, because he sort of, but without the music. I don't know. I'm making this up. This is Joe Fafard. It's not a cow. He's known for doing cows and horses and stuff. And I saw this, and it just tickled my fancy. I just went, well, isn't that fantastic? Way to go, Joe. And those of you who know Joe Fafard's work, he does, this is a bronze. So it's his attention to detail in the lazy, lackadaisical way that poodle is sitting on a couch. That it sort of strikes me as even Joe Fafard thought outside of the box of cows. The box of cows, I don't think that actually makes sense, but outside of the box of what he traditionally did, which were cows and horses and wolves and stuff like that. I picked up a great catalog of his work. Maybe during the breakout I'll find it and show it to you. It's just awesome stuff I hadn't seen before. Okay, now this might be time to think. Oh, get back there. Think about, prepare yourselves to go into a breakout room, shall I say. But this is what the peer review process is like. Qualified reviewers are selected based on the consultant's review of the application. So if I get 25 applicants who want to do Scandinavian, like sort of different place, all Scandinavians, then that will, by dead white guys, then that helps me, that narrows the field of reviewers that I'm gonna want to sit to take a look, that I invite to sit to look at your work. Because of in the bulk of those would be knowledgeable in that field. They know something about that. So it wouldn't be, somebody who's doing something different, shall I say. Reviewers are your peers, though they may be from out of province. This is, the emphasis there is may. The reviewers for your work will be from in province, unless in that grouping of 25 applications, 24 are Scandinavian plays by dead white guys, and one happens to be a brand new play about the state of politics in Canada. I will ask somebody from outside the province to just do an assessment of that. And that assessment becomes part of the overall ranking, but they won't be able to talk about Scandinavian plays, because what do they know about Scandinavian plays? Reviewers receive the applications prior to the meeting of the panel. They have 3 weeks, sometimes 4 weeks to review all of them. And then they score and rank those based on the program criteria. This is, that's part of the application. you will see that what the questions you're being asked, and then there's criteria that go, are are you as the applicant responding to those bullet points? They can't change or alter your project. Golly, I wish that this person, instead of doing a dead Scandinavian white guy, why didn't they do an alive Scandinavian female play? Because I just happen to know, so they can't bring in that stuff in there. It's based entirely on what you have put down on the page or on the screen. And then, as you know, the funding runs out early, so many worthy applicants are not successful. I see there's some questions there. And before we go into a breakout room, maybe Brad.
Shannon, do you want to pose your question?
Sure, thank you. My question was about working with a collaborator who is not Canadian. Am I able to factor in travel costs and pay them an artist fee?
Yes, as long as 50% of the people on your project are Canadians. Yeah, well, they're Saskatchewan residents.
Saskatchewan residents. Okay, perfect.
So you've got 3 from Saskatchewan, and you can bring in that expertise from afar and pay all their costs. Yep.
Thank you.
I see Carla has a question there too,
Yeah.
as well, eh?
Yeah, she has a further comment there. Carla?
Sorry, yeah, I was just going to say, like, it's actually sometimes really hard to understand what you can put under things like subsistence, because like my cost of living is $2,000 on meds, just meds, not even rent and stuff. So it's sometimes hard to, I guess one question with that actually is there a policy that says that we can't count in our request the funding for mental health support when working on a trauma-informed project?
There's half a step back. Subsistence, all you have to do is say, I need $2,000 for assistance, for subsistence. There is the accessibility fund, which would be traditionally, or sort of familiarly, would be for Sue Schmidt to come in as to work with your actors because they're working with deaf factors, or someone who is blind, can't see so well, someone to interpret and sit someone to be there to help you understand, or even if cognitive problems, or a way of cognitively seeing the world differently is such that you need someone to interpret that for you and arrange it for you to help you write your application or do your project, that is possible. In terms of medical costs, this I don't know, Carla. I can find out for you.
And I would be curious then too, if because there's a difference between medical therapy and art therapy, which is more what I work in, is not, yeah, is what I work with. My project is having an art therapist as a part of it.
Yeah, it makes me think of intimacy directors and that kind of stuff. It's not the same thing, I know, but it's just sort of having somebody there to manage trauma and to manage that within the room. That would be an accessible part of the accessibility fund, I would think. But I'll check for sure. I'll check.
Beautiful. I would love to hear like how we figure out to write that into the application then.
It's a separate thing.
Like, would accessibility requests, oh, it is,
Yeah.
okay.
The application is here, and then if you tick a box that says I need accessibility funding, then that takes it to a set, because it comes from an entirely separate fund.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, maybe we could move into breakout groups now, if we could, because this is what the next part of this day is about assessing you're going to become jurors, reviewers. So there, each group, how many do we have? Like what, 15 or so?
Yeah, we have about 10 people participating who aren't running this right now.
And can the cat go into a breakout room, or is that
She will insist upon it, yes.
I'm sure she would. She's a cat. So if we could maybe break into 2 groups, Landon, at your discretion.
Okay.
And while we're here, and then we'll take well, let's not take too long with the first one. Let's just take 5 minutes in each of the group. And what you'll do is you'll read the 3 parts, or maybe 10 minutes. Read the 2 parts and then talk amongst yourselves, and then come up with a score out of 10. But how would you make the decision as a group? So consensus and all the rest of that, which is part of the review process, and then come back and we'll chat then.
Okay.
It looks like we are all back. Thank you for that. I'm going to move. I'm looking over here because that's just my PowerPoint over there. Something that I failed to do at the top was ask each person, if they felt comfortable, to introduce themselves in a sentence of, what do you do? What's your interest? Are you a playwright, an actor, a designer, a stage manager, front of house extraordinaire, administrator? So when you do talk about these things, and we'll ask the different groups to talk about each of one of those, you may just want to take a moment. Let's not make it too formal. Just if you feel, hi, my name is Billy McBillerson, and I'm a failed actor, and so I turned to directing and telling actors how to work. Something like that.
And I remove spotlight from you, Philip, so everyone can see each other.
Oh, good. Yes, thanks.
Jane, do you want to start?
Group 1, breakout room 1. How did that go? Do you want to talk about what that experience was? And then at the end of that, and then we'll talk about group 2, and then I'll ask you what your score was. So don't give your score right away. Just talk about it.
Okay. So can I talk?
You can.
Okay, so should I start with introducing myself, or I should just go straight to the adjudication of the stuff?
Yes, who are you, and what's your specialty, what's your interest, kind of stuff?
Okay, yeah. So good afternoon, everybody. Is it still? Yeah, afternoon. Yeah, my name is Ibukun Fasun. I'm a doctoral candidate at the University of Regina. I'm studying site-specific theater performances, and I started off as a stage manager. Then I went on to directing, although I can't act to save my life. So, and I'm also a writer, so I'm a stage manager, director, writer. And yeah, so I just came to Regina some months ago, and yeah, I am, trying to take, yeah. So regarding the adjudication of the documents that was sent, the first one, we had a very interesting discussion in the first group, So, some people, someone gave the first project and a 5, but after looking at it, I think everybody just agreed to reduce it to 3 because we weren't sure what the person was doing. And then there was, the person wasn't that straightforward, he's just telling us what he has done before, he's self-aggrandizing. trying to tell us, okay, he has done so many plays and everything, but it's not straightforward at all. And giving that person the money would be a waste of time. So the second one, we agreed between 4 or 5 over 10, So, but he wasn't also straight with what he needed the money for, and then it was, unlike the third one that was very specific, from the first paragraph to the second paragraph to the third one, it was very clear on the past experiences, what he needs the money for, the impact that funding would have on the society and on his career, So I think that, so we gave that 1.9, So anybody from Group 1 can speak to this here. Thank you very much.
Good, thanks a lot. Other people in that group, thoughts?
I think Abuken summed it up fairly well for me. I'm Shannon Holmes. I've recently moved to Saskatchewan last year. I'm at the university. I'm a theater professor there. I'm a theater creator, interdisciplinary artist, because my work revolves or lives in music a lot. I'm a singer. A lot of my work revolves around voice, and yeah, I would give the grant to Diego.
Right on. Diego, does anybody else from Group 1 want to chat, talk about it?
I'll go. I can't see everybody on the screen, so I hope I'm not talking over any top of anybody. I'm Louise, and I can relate to every single one of those tragic stories that Phil talked about. So I don't know what that makes me, but I'm a director of a very, very small theater company, and in Saskatoon, and I'm currently working on a show that's going to be produced in Saskatoon and in Regina, part of OnQ, and possibly in a couple of other places. I guess the only sort of comment I have is about the 3 things that we read was, I didn't feel that the only thing that I felt that none of them mentioned was how it would improve their own career. I might have missed it in the third one because it sounds like other people saw it there. Yeah, and I added it up a little bit to try to see kind of what I could remember from what people said. And in general, it's the order that things got ranked in was this: C was first. He definitely get money, and then A might get some money, and then B is like a millionaire. He doesn't need money, and his career is already at the pinnacle, so it doesn't really fit the requirements.
Cool. Thanks, Louise. Anybody else? Again, don't feel you have to if you have things to say, or if Shannon, Louise, and Ibuken have sort of wrapped it up for you. How about Group 2? Who wants to talk from that group?
I guess I can start. My name is Jane Newmeyer. I don't usually sound like this. I'm getting over a cold. I'm a Saskatchewan longtime resident, went away for school and have been back for a while. Hey, we're lucky it's on Zoom. You can't catch my germs. So I'm a theater artist. I've been doing some teaching in these down times as well, and have gotten some enjoyment from that, but want to do more actual theater things as well. Excuse me. So we didn't have the adjudication criteria that I can now see on my screen when we were in our breakout rooms. So we didn't really get to use these parameters. So we just kind of read through them and discussed very briefly before our time ended some points that we liked about them, or didn't like. I think we ended up, we kind of just did a tier list of like rank 1, 2, 3. We ranked Project C the highest, being as it seemed the most complete and well thought out application. An additional point is it was the only one that was actually signed by an artist too. It seemed like it had the clearest idea and was ready to go as soon as it received funding. Even if it didn't receive funding, it was still going to go forward in some capacity. So it didn't completely rely on the Arts Council funding for it, or the Arts Board funding for it. It seemed like it was well thought out, had support from others already, which was a big boon for it. And like I said, was just ready to go, and it seemed like it would definitely be a project that would be completed, and a good use of the available funds. We ranked Project A secondly, because it again had details about the project itself, had a good idea of what the play was going to be about. So even though it is the creation of a new work, it still had a clear vision of what it wanted to be. And I think some of the reasons we placed it above Project B is that Project B, while it was very passionate in its language, it did have repetitive use of language, like it couldn't think of anything else to say in the application. So it seemed to be lacking details and lacking substance for it. That's just what my thoughts are.
Very good, Jane. Nice to meet you. Somebody else from that group. Okay, that was Jane did it all. Very good. Part of this exercise is to see how the two different groupings and the dynamics within the group can change the outcome. There was also a bit of a landmine. It was a bit of a trick question in there. Did anyone question who signed the third example? Diego Rivera.
Well, yeah, like that's the name of Frida Kahlo's husband, but he's like nowhere near as good. He was just way richer. But like I don't. Yeah, is that the kind of stuff we're looking at, whether or not they're actually a Saskatchewan artist?
Oh yeah, that's the review panels are looking, they're going through with a fine-tooth comb, and one would hope, would have said, Diego Rivera? He's a famous Mexican muralist and a communist. What's he doing? What right does he have to talk about Indigenous work in Saskatchewan? And that can cause a whole discussion within the group. And you can go, you didn't have time today, of course, but go and research, like, what community did Diego Rivera come from in Saskatchewan? And if you can't find evidence, if the CV is coming back and saying all kinds of things, then that's a reason to out you go. Anyway, it was a trick. It was a trick. But that's the detail that we ask review panelists to go through.
To be fair, Shakespeare also isn't from Saskatchewan, and that's who was applying for the first one. So
was it, or he wasn't signed? He just said, "I want to." Exact. Why would they want to write But you're right, absolutely right, Jane. It's like that's another thing. Well, why did why did he want to write a new play, Love in the Afterlife? or she, why did she want, I'm experienced in having written in the hunt. So that's something that they would have kicked that out as well, even though it was unsigned. You're supposed to, you know who that was. Okay, yes, on purpose, you didn't have the criteria. I wanted you to talk about like your gut responses about how it was. This is the two, I will keep doing that, sorry. The two criteria upon which review panels assess your work. They're also the two chunks in the application. So it's the artistic merit, the resume of the past work, achievements in the art form, level of development of a distinct personal body of work. That's who you are, what you've done in the past. Is it professional? Because there's criteria in the guidelines there about what we define as professional artists. Some other jurisdictions define that differently. But we defined that through this consultation we did to the Independent Artist Program 4 years ago. I guess we went around to all the communities and asked people, it's a professional artist. So anyway, that's us. And then the merit of the activity, the relevance to your art practice and career, how your peers assess your work, its scope and feasibility. Is it reasonable? Are the costs, your budget items, all reasonable? Why are you paying your actors only $75 a week? That's unreasonable. But why are you buying 72 sheets of 3/4 inch good both sides plywood in order to make a traveling set? That's unreasonable as well. So they know what these costs are. Is it feasible to rehearse the cherry orchard in a week and a half and put it up? Well, no. What about its scope? Those things, these are the things that they take a look at your application and assess. And then the rating sheets. Each, like you did, they will gives a score for each of the criterion, and there's things in, like items in there. There's a rubric. When they gather the panelists, they talk amongst themselves and reach a consensus about each application. So we now we take them into a Zoom room, and each application gets discussed. And then people change their minds, because you can, well, I only scored them a 5 on that, but you know what Jody has talked about is like, oh, Mike, I never saw that, or I scored this one at 10, but I didn't even think to ask who Diego Rivera was. And you know, why was Shakespeare applying to the Arts Board? So they then, by consensus, can change their scores, and it's ranked. So high scores at the top, low scores at the bottom, and then they discuss amongst themselves how it's when you see the ranking. I asked the panels, how does that make you feel? Because they're artists. I want them to feel something about, and you go, oh my God, Landon Walser's application, I was so mean to him. I'm sorry, but it makes me feel not very good about myself. But that he's ranked sort of halfway in the out of the money thing, it doesn't make me, because I miss so much about that. And when I see it ranked against Sky Brandon's, we'll say, then I just, Sky, he gets a lot of work, but Landon, he really needs this right now. So you can adjust, and by consensus, you can come up with, you can change, they can change that. It's their decision. They render it, they wrangle and talk amongst themselves, and it's final. I don't get to go in and change that. No one does. That's what they are charged to do, and we believe them. And that's what it looks like. It's not ugly. You won't see, like, the one those blanks on the left there are names and numbers and all the rest of that. And the first column in there is what the ask is. The second one is the recommended. And then the third and fourth is what they actually get funded. And so that's the cutoff line. The colored coded tabs to the far right are just the different reviewers. The green gets funded. I don't know if I can, no, I can't do it, sorry. And then this is the recommended part down here. So if money comes back and because someone can't do their project or something like that, then number 16 will get recommended to $10,000. So it sometimes happens when money comes back into the envelope for a variety of reasons. Anyway, that's what it looks like. These are more quotes from the world today doesn't make sense, so why should I paint pictures that do? You have a right to create art that makes sense to you. Now your job is to describe it so that it makes sense to others. A panel of fellow artists want to know about you and your fabulous artistic corrections. Make it easy for them to like your creations. You want to make, when we used to fly people or bring people in, I would tell applicants that you don't want to, panelists, reviewers are humans and they crunch things towards the end. So you don't want to be that application that the reviewer has to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning the day of from a hotel room where the coffee is bad and the breakfast is scant, and they have to read and assess your application. And you want, so, and if it's confusing, you know what's going to happen to their assessment. So you want to be really, really, really clear, very specifically clear about thunder. Can you hear that thunder? Does that come through in your end? I might have to bring the dog in. And to play a wrong note is insignificant. To play without passion is inexcusable. Said that old guy again. Let's go into another breakout room then, if you would, Landon. And we'll deal with the second. I will go back to this. I will leave that on the screen, on my screen, the share screen. So this is the two things you're looking at in clarify your idea session. Now, was that easier now that you know what the criteria is and also having gone through it and what sort of people are looking for and all the rest of that? Or rather, let me not presuppose what you're feeling. How was that? Group 2, let's start with group 2. What do you think, Rachel? I saw you nod and shake your head. Okay.
What was the question? Like how it was easier knowing the criteria. I'm Rachel Walliser. I would say I'm an emerging theater artist, doing acting, writing, intimacy, direction work, and hopefully dramaturging soon. But yeah, no, I definitely found it was easier. We were definitely like, there was still like one proposal that kind of stood out to us because it was very like clear. Now I'm trying to remember which one it was. I think it was B, but just had like the most clear details about like what they actually wanted and what they were actually doing. and what they needed like support with.
Cool, thanks. Nice to meet you. Anybody else from that group?
Hi, I'm Carson Walliser. I'm at work as like an actor and a designer. Um, Currently, I work out at the Stratford Festival on a contract, but I'm from Saskatchewan, went to university in Saskatchewan and everything, still call Saskatchewan home. Yeah, definitely we went through all the applications. For sure, the second one stood out. The biggest issues we had with the first and the second one is we just couldn't really tell like entirely what they were asking for. Even the first one, or like it sounds like they're asking about funding for an exhibition, but then they also mention like a book that they're hoping to, or something. Yeah, an artist book. So we weren't sure if it was like going to be split between the two or if it was going to focus primarily on one. And then the last one, it's like 3 different paragraphs, and the second paragraph is, it's very like, it's nice, but it doesn't really assist the application at all. It basically is just like, we have ideas, we've talked to people. It's very, very general. But like the enthusiasm is nice. And then again, we also couldn't tell if they were applying for funding for better video equipment or like to develop the piece that they want to work on. But we did think both ideas still had lots of like merit to the ideas themselves. So that's kind of how we ended up scoring them.
Sweet, thanks. Group 2? No, group breakout room 1 now, because you guys are just, you guys, yes. Anybody want to speak about that?
Can I speak about this one?
You sure can.
Because it was weird because we had similar responses to A and C, and saw some weaknesses in both. A much weaker than C, but 2 of us really liked B, and then I was the outlier, and I hated it. And I wondered if maybe it was because I was thinking that was the trick one, because it didn't make any sense. We had left-handed people, and we had a left-handed people group, and right-handed people were writing for it, and it was going to be produced at a right-footed venue. And I thought maybe that was just some trick that Phil figured out.
That confusion is, that's part of the clarity thing. You really want to have a real simple idea and move it forward, and not offer a juror like Louise to go, I don't understand. What the heck is, how does that make sense? What is this, a trick? Or is this really, what the hell are they talking about? I don't, and your score would reflect that. So Louise's score, if she could not be convinced by the fellow jurors, the fellow reviewers, to adjust that score, would drop that application below, like into the yellow of that graph, that big graph you saw. So that's the danger of not being crystal clear, like dunk, 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 with each part, with each aspect of your application.
Yeah, my question sort of was with that too. So what I wanted to do in that situation was spend some time figuring out what the other jurors thought was happening, but we didn't have time to do that. And I'm thinking that in the actual situation, they're running on a shortage of time as well, aren't they?
Correct. If there's like 40 applications, we got to do them in a day, or 35. We wouldn't do 40. 40 would be a day and a half. But I've had like 33, and we just have to keep going. So there's no opportunity to really jump into. And in your review, you would have looked, well, what the hell is a left-handed saxophonist? Like, what the hell is that? How can, that's because the keys on the saxophone, there's some on this hand for your right hand and there's some on this for your left hand. So, piano players can do it because they, left-handed, they do write pieces for left-handed for one hand. Anyway, anybody else?
But then, yeah, I think, also adding to what Louis said, I don't know if I pronounced the name right. I feel, because I think I was close to entering this kind of trap, when I was writing my short proposal, because I was trying to prove in the proposal, that this is something exciting I was going to do. And then someone that reviewed it said, no. Nobody needs all this. So I think what the person was trying to do is just to try to prove to us that maybe that, a left-handed something is kind of in quotes, ingenious, But then I feel that proposal, that left-handed something might be understood by someone in music, but then, there'll be people from other areas or disciplines, that'll be reviewing that proposal and will just feel, this proposal is just too cheesy. I would move to the next one. So yeah, and yeah, for the first one, I actually didn't know what the person was saying, because I just felt that was too brief, for someone that was looking for money. It's just too brief. It's like, that to me sounded like, okay, since you are not putting any thought process into this, then we're not going to give you that money, So, but the third one, was really good. But then again, I was not too sure about the person. I gave the proposal like 6/10, because it wasn't it wasn't in the grade of like 8/10 or 9/10 for me.
Right.
Yeah. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you very much. Okay. Yes.
Philip, I just want to remind you of the time.
Yes, I was
It's
just
now
looking at
3:40.
I'm going to move right along. Thanks, Brad. I just had glanced down. I went, okay, we're just going to go. This is quick and dirty. Read the application form. Call the consultant if you have any questions. That's me or somebody else. Answer each number and bullet in the application. Be clear, concise, make your point, and then move on. Because you can see like some of the rambly ones there. Bear in mind your project statement, which is akin to the title of your play. So that's the thing that follows you through. Use a calculator. Funny that I would want to put that in, but that's part of my job when I review them before going to the jury. Oh yeah, but your numbers don't add up. But with the new online, it's a little bit easier. Be willing to share it. Assume the reviewers know nothing about you, because I tell them that. I say you can bring in your wealth of knowledge about, Sky Brandon, but I tell Sky, assume that they don't know who you are. And be kind to them. They are your colleagues and they just may hire you in the future. They'll go, oh God, Sky, why did you do this to me? Sky, I don't want to ever work with them. This is your artist statement. We've talked about this before. I'm assuming I can provide this to you for future. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? How are you going? Sorry, Sue. How are you going to do it? Well, why do you want to do it right now? How are the good people of Saskatchewan going to benefit from your project? And then thank us. Money. Expenses must equal the revenues. Get quotes, many hard costs, and include these as your support materials. I want to rent the refinery for 3 weeks. Get a quote from Cynthia. Be accurate, because panelists knows what the things cost. This is like the 3/4 inch panels, the plywood to go on tour. Be careful what you can and cannot ask the arts board to fund. You can't say, I need to buy a new lighting board. That's not, you can apply to the lottery, which is coming up. Be generous with yourself. Don't forget to pay yourself. But you can't pay yourself to write the application. You can only pay yourself once the application has been approved. Ask for only what you need. Don't inflate the expenses because they are your colleagues. They will know that you're asking for way too much. Once again, Sky, you're asking for everything. This you know about, I've done that, and that's the end, because that's just the way it is. Now, how was that, Brad?
Well, that's great. I think you've allowed some time for questions if people have or their concerns about their projects.
Be specific too. That's also, let me get out of the stop share so I can actually look at people when.
And I've taken spotlight off you again, Philip, so that everyone can be seen easier as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much. If you don't ask me now, you might want to call me out prior to the application. And that's fine. That's what, like I say,
Okay. Yeah, so I want to ask, because I don't know how this art funding really goes, So for example, you said I can't apply until like March, because I just got to Canada. So can I apply by March or April, for the art funding? And is this art funding, is this something that is time bound or it can be applied for any time of the year?
It opens up 6 weeks, the portal. You have to go in to create yourself a presence on Smart Simple on our website. And through your portal, you will see what's available to you. And we open up the IA applications 6 weeks prior to the deadline. So March 15th would be 1st of April, 1st of February, sorry.
Okay.
But you can't get funding. You can only apply funding that should you receive it from March 15th onward. There's no retroactive funding.
Okay.
I have a question. Are we able to speak to someone ahead of time to make sure that we are, oh, no, maybe this is a bad question. I was just wondering about, discipline wise, how important it is that it is really discipline specific. If you're doing something interdisciplinary that straddles the line of theater and music, where would we go to for some kind of advice on that about how to be more specific about which discipline, or do we just declare interdisciplinary?
Oddly enough, Shannon, that's me too. Or coincidentally, yes, I also administer the multidisciplinary portfolio, and that's where those kind of questions will get resolved. You could apply in theater because sometimes you don't know, you just want, but it's, I want to apply for this musical, but it's all written, you want to apply for Lion King or something like that. It's all done. But if you want to applying for a musical and you need to compose and score out the music for that, then that's a multidisciplinary because you're taking theater and music and melding them together. Or dance piece, music and dance, or a graphic novel is a really good example. Like, does it go to literary, or because it's a graphic novel, or does it go to visual because it's a lot of drawing? It depends where the emphasis is in your application. If you, as the applicant, are basically a writer and you want to hire someone to ink it for you, then that is a multidisciplinary because you're going to write it, you're going to hire the inker, and that's it. So it wouldn't go to visual entirely, because what does a visual artist know about writing? He said. And what does a dancer know about writing a play? Those are the, so yeah, just call, you could apply, and then I will read it and go, oh, okay, no, this is actually a literary project, or this is actually, it belongs in the, because then it will, I want you to succeed. So I will put you into, I will recommend, it's your decision, but I will recommend that you go into music, because there you will get a better assessment of your project.
Okay, so we won't be throwing the application away if I send it in and it's in the wrong place.
Correct.
Just go, okay, great.
Yeah,
Thank
yeah, yeah. Because in the arts, more and more, that's happening. People, like, it's the combination. It's like nobody is keen to do yet again another production of The Cherry Orchard, unless it's wacky with some punk band out of Moose Jaw, my favorite punk band out of Moose Jaw. He's gonna, anyway. Sorry, I just saw you, Sue, doing that. I went, punk band. Very good. Anybody else? Any other thoughts as we wrap this up?
I have a question myself, actually. What's the consensus on whether a piece is commercially viable or not? Does it need to be a non-commercial piece? Does it matter?
Good question. It's a fine line. If the core intention of it is more to make money out of the production, then that's a creative SaaS, because then you've got the production, you want to mount it, you want to tour it, you want to do that. Whereas the arts board, it's more let's put this thing together. That said, every musician I've ever met that writes a song and cuts a CD wants to sell it. They want to go on tour. They want to make money, and that's okay. A theater production, you want to make your nut. You want to get enough people in through the door, or enough funds from public sources and private sources to pay your actors what you have talked about. So if you want to take a show to Broadway or to the Royal Alex, I would say that's commercial. But if you want to show it on Globe Theater, that isn't commercial. Fine line, good question, but it's a case by case. But that's how I would do it. You want to pay your artists. You want to make money, in fact, and that making money off of a production of The Cherry Orchard is pretty good, because then however you decide, you can spread it amongst your artists and creative team.
Philip, I think you had kind of mentioned this, and I think I might just be a bit confused. Did you say earlier that we, in our applications, are not supposed to carve out artist fees for ourselves, and that you're supposed to put it under subsistence?
Exactly.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's your choice. You, as the applicant, the lead applicant, you can either take subsistence, which means I want to stay alive while I do this project, or you can not take a subsistence and pay yourself an artist fee. That really is your choice. And some people want to say, no, I'm an artist. I want to be paid CAEA rates, regardless of how low they are, and they are not enough. But that's your associations, actors associations, to change that. Or you could, and that's how I want, because I want to be on par with all the rest of the people. For actors, I want us all to be paid the same. All the designers, the creative team, I want everyone to be paid the same. And if you lump yourself into that, then it's the discussion around the table at the end of the production is a lot easier than, oh yeah, well, Carson, yeah, sure, he was making $2,000 a month. Well, I was, as the actor, I was only making, we did 2 weeks rehearsal, that's $1,500. What's up with that?
One question leading on from Carson's question would be, when can you start paying yourself? Say, for instance, you've got a production coming up. Can you only pay yourself for the 4 or 3 weeks rehearsal period and the production week? Or can you start before that if there are things that need to be done? Or do you make a case for that?
Yes, whatever you write into your budget is what I hold you to account for. So if you say it's sort of like how in CAE, like stage management gets paid a week before all the rest of the people start getting paid, because it's all the prep stuff. And if you, as the director, feel you need to have that extra week, then you can start paying yourself then. If it's artist fees, if it's subsistence, then that's however you define the project. And the project is a start date and an end date. And so that's when we pay you 30 days before the start date, or I requisition the check then, so that you can get it, so you can have the money in the bank in order to be able to proceed. Speaking of which, if you have a little company, if you do productions every so often, get yourself a bank account. And I don't work for the Toronto Dominion Bank, but I recommend you talk to them, because they are very easy and amenable to getting not-for-profits a little wee checking account. And that means that you, Shannon Holmes, will not get a T4A, and it won't come off your taxes. It goes straight into Home Suites Productions. And then we don't issue a T4A if it goes into a production, into a company bank account. It's a common error. If someone gets $18,000 and they go, oh my God, I gotta now fill out I gotta pay taxes on that. So you have to go back to the actors and say that, or the creative team, the stage management, and say, I'm sorry, I have to I can't pay these taxes. So it's complicated. But the other side of it is, you can just take the money. Thanks, Louise. Yes, the credit union is also free. Credit unions are great, really, really amenable to, because they want you want your business, but they also like artists.
Are there any more questions for Philip or concerns?
The fly is back, if that's an indicator. Yes, Carson.
Sorry. I've been working out of province on a contract, but all my identification and everything is still Saskatchewan. None of that has changed over. I've just had to rent elsewhere while I've been here and stuff. Does that affect my that's okay?
Yeah.
Excellent.
If your intention is to come back and all the rest of that, which it clearly is. And yeah, we want artists to work, period. Sometimes that takes them abroad. Sometimes it just takes them interprovincial. So we're pretty easy around the 6 months to be actually a resident, but also to be here for 6 months, because who are we to sort of penalize you for working at the festival? No, sorry, Carson, you can't be doing that high-end, big-end stuff. No. What shows are you in? I'm assuming you're an actor.
I am an actor, and I also work in costuming. So I'm in the wardrobe department actually right now.
Cool.
Thanks. So I get to work on all the shows a little bit.
Right. Do you know Kathy McKinnon? Kathy Kennedy McKinnon? She's a voice coach there.
I haven't met her, no, but I've heard the name around.
Walk up to her and tell her that I say a big hello.
Okay.
Just be bold.
Oh, and Jane knows her too. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, good. There you go.
Okay, we're getting very close to time, and I'd like to thank all the participants for your input into it. It certainly makes it a richer experience to a session like this. I want to thank Landon for doing the wrangling and putting everybody into their rooms. I'd like to thank Sue for her enthusiastic interpretation. And above all, I'd like to thank Philip for his time and energy in presenting to us this. I'm sure it just really helps most people get a real grip on how to craft their application. I just wanted to remind everybody that, oh, Philip, yes.
Yeah, thanks. One thing that I didn't talk about off the top is I'm speaking of wrangling. Canada Council is doing an online Zoom session on create something. So the titles are just drive me batty. They're doing an online. We have two
explore and create.
Explore and create. Thank you, Mary. Explore and create. Session on September 7th. Send me an email to register for that, and then on the 8th and the 9th, they're going to be doing one-on-one sessions of 30 minutes each. So you could sign up for both those things, or one or the other. It's in the afternoon for a couple of hours, sort of like this kind of deal. But they want to put more money into Saskatchewan because they haven't in the past. So this is their way of doing an outreach session, September 7th.
Thanks, Philip. I also wanted to just mention too that several times in the chat room, I've put in our AGM and forum coming up on September 18th. So please take that information from the chat room or go to OnQ Performance, OnQ Regina, and check out that and register for the AGM and the forum. So thank you, everyone, and we'll hope to see you in our future workshops. Thanks so much.